Hey, this is Mark Moore, aka Tuxedo Mark, in various places on the internet. It's 2:27 p.m. according to a computer clock on Thursday, April 24, 2014. And in this vlog, I'm going to be talking about Gem. Both the show and the upcoming live-action film. I'm going to kind of go back and forth between them, just kind of weave in and out between each of them. Anyway, so I guess I'll start with my introduction to Gem. I don't remember specifically when I started watching Gem. I know it was after we moved here to Florida in June of 1986, but I don't remember the specifics. I remember seeing the episode with the duplicate Starlight Mansion. I don't remember the title offhand, with all the actors trying to trick Gem into revealing her true identity. I also remember Journey to Shangri-La. Anyway, so, Gem is one of my earliest shows as far as living in Florida is concerned. It predates Captain N, obviously, and it might predate the real Ghostbusters. I'm not sure. I know I was watching the real Ghostbusters by 1987. It started in 86. I know I watched the episode The Man Who Never Reached Home, because I remember my mom and I were watching it, and the year on the screen said 1987, and I remember thinking at the time that, current year, present day. But anyway, Gem. So, I had fond memories of watching Gem. I didn't watch Transformers or G.I. Joe back then, but I watched Gem. So, yeah. Alright. Now, I got back into Gem. Funny story. Sometime before my 21st birthday, October 18, 1999, I had gone to a video rental store in Inverness, a city in the same county as me, but kind of to the northeast. And I went to a video rental store, and I happened to see one of those old Family Home Entertainment VHS tapes of the Transformers episode Roll For It. It's one of the ones with Chip Chase. I think it's its introductory episode. Now, I had planned to go back there and rent that episode on my 21st birthday. Now, I had already seen it because I had gotten a bunch of crappy quality taped off the air VHS tapes, copies of taped off the air episodes of Transformers, all 98 episodes plus the movie. So I had already seen it, but I thought, oh, okay, as kind of a birthday present to myself, I'll get a better quality copy of that episode. Okay. So, I went to the video rental place on October 18, 1999, and I rented the episode, but I also saw the Family Home Entertainment tape of Gem, Truly Outrageous. I snatched that up as well. You see, I'd gotten a double-deck VCR for my birthday, so I was going to copy these things. Alright, so, and I hadn't seen Gem since the 80s. Okay, so it's been well over a decade since I saw it. So I was really looking forward to watching it, and I enjoyed it. Now, what Truly Outrageous is, alright, and I wasn't aware of this at the time, but the way that Gem started was as short segments on a show called Super Sunday. And what that was a series of 3 cartoon segments in a half-hour block. They had Jem, they had Bigfoot, and they had, I think it was called Robotics. Kind of a Transformers ripoff, except instead of warring alien robot races, it's warring alien humanoid races that transfer themselves into giant robot-like things. They even got Victor Caroli, the narrator from the Transformers, to narrate this thing. Anyway. And this was 1985, a year after the Transformers. Anyway, so Jem was one of the segments of Super Sunday, and from what I read later on the Truly Outrageous Jem mailing list on Yahoo Groups, which I later joined, is that there were 15 of these Jem segments. Now, it got picked up to series, whereas I believe Bigfoot and Robotics never did. And so what they did was they re-edited those 15 segments to become the first 5 episodes of the TV series. And they also had to extend them a bit by re-looping the lyrics of the music video, creating additional footage for the music videos, maybe creating some additional bits here and there, like little extensions of the scenes, stuff like that. There was also a new final scene after Jem and Hallgrim win the Battle of the Bands contest. There's a final scene taking place at Starlight Music between Jerrica, Rio, and Eric. Anyway, so I really enjoyed watching this this Truly Outrageous VHS tape, which is just the 15 segments edited together into a movie, like a Jem series premiere movie, if you will, which didn't have the additional stuff that was added in later for the half-hour versions. But anyway, eventually I had gotten VHS taped copies of all of the episodes from someone else on mailing list named Mooncat. And yeah, so I got them on December 30th, 1999. And if you remember, some of you might remember, ABC was going to do a 24-hour coverage leading up to New Year's in the year 2000. And they were going to start this sometime, let me see if I remember this correctly. I think it was going to be starting in the early morning of December 31st, if I recall correctly. I'm not sure. I recorded the entire event, but anyway, so I decided to watch some episodes of Jem while waiting for this thing to start. Now I'm trying to remember exactly. I think it was December 30th. I don't remember. Anyway, so I eventually went through and I watched all of these Jem episodes. And I got the first 2 DVD sets that Kid Rhino put out, which they never finished with the 3rd and final volume. I have yet to get the complete series that Shout Factory put out in 2011, but I will eventually. So, I think if you're watching this video, I don't need to tell you what Jem is exactly, but it's probably the most grounded of the Sunbow trilogy, if you will. Much more realistic than Transformers and G.I. Joe. It's probably the best written of the 3 as well. Now, there are some stinker episodes in there. Journey Through Time, Journey to Shangri-La, and even The Day the Music Died. Yeah. But anyway, so the story in a nutshell: a rock pop band named Jem and the Holograms against like a punk rock band called the Misfits, and also later on towards the end of the series they added like a soulful, smooth type of band named the Stingers. Okay, so we got Jerrica Benton, the lead character. She gets this synthesizer slash computer slash like sentient AI thing called Synergy as a gift from her father, Emmett Benton. He dies, but he has instructions for Synergy to reveal herself to Jerrica. So Jerrica uses Synergy to create an alter ego for herself named Jem, and she becomes like a rock star. And her sister and her foster sisters, Kimber, Asha, and Shayna, they form a band called Jem and the Holograms. Now, her father had been the CEO of Starlight Music, and he left half of the company to her and half to his assistant, Eric Raymond, who had pretty much been managing the company while Emmett's health had been suffering prior to his death. Now, Eric signs this new band called the Misfits, Pizzazz, Roxy, and Stormer, kind of like a punk rock type of band. Jerrica doesn't like it, so she creates her own band to show up the Misfits at this local Battle of the Bands type of contest that Eric had organized in the park. I don't know what the prize was, I don't know if Jerrica knew, and I don't know if Jerrica cared. It's just that she wanted to show up the Misfits. Now, here's the main problem of the series, and I don't know if this is part of the lore for the toys, and if it had to be written into a series, I'm not sure. The thing is, Jem, it's not just Jerrica's stage persona. It's like she's keeping Jem's true identity a secret. Like, she's basically trying to fool the world into believing that Jerrica and Jem are two completely different people. The only ones that know are her bandmates. And later on the President of the United States, but anyway. She keeps it a secret from her boyfriend slash road manager, Rio Pacheco, or Pacheco, they use both pronunciations. But anyway, why? There's really no reason for her to not tell her boyfriend. I mean, just because he wasn't there at the time that Synergy revealed herself? I don't know. It's stupid that she would keep this a secret. And you know what? When she's Jem, she throws herself at Rio and seduces him, so she basically created a love triangle with herself. This is all her own doing. Jerrica's got issues. There's no reason for her to do this. It's an unnecessary complication. And then in one episode, Glitter and Gold, when she decides she has to tell Rio the truth, no matter how he'll react, right before she's about to tell him, they get interrupted by Kimber and like two of her boyfriends, and Rio gets upset at her for keeping secrets from each of her boyfriends or something, and he just blows up, and Jerrica realizes she can't tell him, or at least she uses that as an excuse to not tell him. He's upset that she won't tell him whatever she was going to tell him. He storms off, and later on, somehow it all becomes okay, and he doesn't care. There was this one episode where Eric Raymond's putting out a reward for anyone that can find out Jim's true identity. At one point, Rio and Jericho are talking, and Rio's like, unless you and Jim are the same person. Am I right, Jericho? And then, right in front of him, she just kind of tilts her head and goes, "Showtime, Synergy, project a hologram of Jim." And then a hologram of Jim appears across the street. And Jericho's like, "You were saying, Ryu?" And he's like, I guess I was wrong. What? She just did this right in front of him. Alright. Now, other than the fact that their voices are the same, and yes, I know that Jericho and Jim's speaking voice was done by Samantha Newark, and the singing voice was done by Britta Phelps. But Jim and Jericho both speak in the same voice, and they both sing in the same voice. Her face doesn't change appearance. It's just that her hair changes to pink and long, and she gets makeup, like holographic makeup on her eyes or on her face and whatever. She's wearing the same earrings, the ruby gemstar earrings, as both Jericho and Jim. Same voice, same earrings, same face. And Rio cannot tell that his own girlfriend is Jim. It's like, what? No one can tell. Anyway, so what's the reason that Jericho is keeping this big secret anyway from the whole world? What's the reason? Well, guess what? There isn't one. It's never brought up. It's just that Jericho shows up at the Battle of the Bands in the park as Jem, and then instead of Eric recognizing her or whatever, Jem's like, "She invited us, Showtime, Synergy." Yeah, that's not conspicuous at all. Yeah, point to the place where you want a hologram of Jericho to appear before you actually project the hologram. That's smart thinking. Eric doesn't see through it. Anyway, supposedly there's an explanation in the Gem Writer's Bible, or Production Bible, or whatever, written by the story editor and the creator of the series, Christy Marks, that Jericho's keeping the secret so that Eric couldn't claim a conflict of interest at the Battle of the Bands. Which Battle of the Bands? The first one? Because the first one, we don't even know what the prize was. It was just some dinky little contest in a park. If we're talking about the second Battle of the Bands, where the winners get a movie contract and they get the mansion, then I fail to see how Jericho being in the band would be any more of a conflict of interest than her sister Kimber being in the band. What's the difference? And besides, no kind of fear of a conflict of interest or Eric calling her out on anything is ever brought up on the show. Alright, so the secret identity serves no purpose except to create artificial drama. And this is all Jericho's doing. She brought this upon herself. Okay. So, last month it was announced that finally, after years of waiting, there would be a live-action Gem movie. Except it's called Gem and the Holograms. And I don't know why they keep insisting on doing that. The show is called Gem. But every North American DVD release, as far as I can tell, calls it Gem and the Holograms. Well, at least the Rhino DVD sets did. I'm not sure if the Shout Factory sets do or not. I'd have to look it up. I don't feel like doing that right now. But yeah, it's called Jem and the Holograms. It's being directed by John M. Chu. He's the guy that directed G.I. Joe Retaliation, the second film in the series. And from what I heard, he apparently dropped out of directing G.I. Joe 3 in order to direct Jem and the Holograms. He's an action movie director, and he seems kind of an odd choice to direct Jem. He's teaming up with the company that puts out the Purge films. There was one last year and there was one this year. Low budget horror suspense type of films, ludicrous premise, which I guess makes them the perfect people to direct it, to produce a Jem movie. We'll see how they do. Apparently, it's going to be low budget. They've done this weird thing where they're having like people send in video auditions, like video clips of them dressed up as Jem or singing Jem songs, and now they want video clips of people talking to Jem, saying how much that they like Jem and stuff like that, which I feel is footage that's going to be used in the movie itself, because the setup, it takes place in the present day. So they're not doing the 1980s, which, okay, I guess they could have gone one of two ways. They could have done, retro, putting it in the 1980s. Or they could have done, updated to present day. So they're doing present day. I'm not sure which way that I would have gone. I might have done present day as well. I'm not sure. But yeah, so it's going. Jem, or I guess Jerrica, is going to be like an online singing sensation. She's going to do the whole social media type of celebrity status type of thing. Now, there's very little information given about the plot so far, except present day, and it's and Jem is an internet celebrity, and there's going to be some kind of scavenger hunt around LA, dealing with like a message left to her by her father. I guess supposedly this might be from Universal. I'm not sure, but anyway, but yeah, it's supposed to be like a hyper-connected social media age. That's the way that they put it, I believe. And okay, so let me address the scavenger hunt thing first. Okay, that's a plot straight out of the Jem cartoon. They didn't exactly go on a scavenger hunt for synergy or whatever in the first episode, but they did do a scavenger hunt in the episode In Search of the Stolen Album. So this is a very Jem-esque type of plot already. Okay, here, the primary concern that I've seen a lot of people express is that this is going to become a ripoff of Hannah Montana. I never saw Hannah Montana, but the premise kind of reminded me of Gem without all of the flashiness and everything. And it's stupid. The whole secret pop star type of thing. It's a stupid idea. Honestly, I wish that they would discard the secret identity thing entirely. But if they're going to do it, then I guess the best way to do it is to have Gem be Jerrica's online internet persona, and then she kind of maintains a low profile and like doesn't put herself as Jerrica out on the internet. That's the only way that I could see her keeping this a secret at all. Because, like, in the original show, how could Jerrica possibly not let anyone else know that she's Gem? What about, for tax purposes? Wouldn't the IRS investigate, why Gem hasn't paid her taxes or just anything? I mean, what about signing contracts for like concert venues and for just for stores to carry their albums? I mean, there's so much that there's so much legal stuff that Jerrica couldn't possibly keep this a secret. Of course, the show never went into any of that. And now, with it being modernized to a hyper-connected social media age, there's no way that she would keep this a secret, at least not for very long. I just wouldn't do it at all. But if she's going to do it, I guess just do it as like a stage name, like an online stage name or online persona, and that's it. For the purposes of posting her videos and even like self-publishing like MP3s or manufacture on-demand CDs. She could list Gem as an artist. Okay. Alright, I guess that's fine. But, if Ryu's gonna be in there, and Ryu's in around half of the episodes, I believe, so he should be in the movie, but Jerrica should not keep this whole thing a secret from Ryu. Just at all. That was stupid. Now, whether Starline Music will be involved. If Jerrica is going to indie, self-publishing her own music route, then we don't need Starline Music. Or she could put that in as the publisher when she's self-publishing. Kind of a little in-joke reference or whatever. But, yeah, just the whole corporation thing, it's not needed. That one employee, like the Benton family friend, Joni, I believe her name is, that worked at Starline Music. Yeah, we don't need her. And think about it, Starline Music, on the cartoon, Gem and the Holograms was the only signed talent that was worth anything. In fact, in the day the music died, when Jerrica took off with Riot to go to a tropical island or whatever for like a week or two or however long that it was, Starline Music fell into bankruptcy, which is stupid. It wouldn't happen that quickly, but yeah, it just reinforces the idea that they didn't have anyone else worth anything. There was like a group called the Fifth Avenue Boys that made like a silent cameo in one episode. We didn't hear them speak or sing or anything. It's just that a music video was being filmed at the mall with them. Yeah, whatever. So without Starline Music, you wouldn't even have to address that the company would have any other signed bands or artists or anything. Let's before we take a look at supporting characters, what about the holograms and Misfits themselves? Do you introduce all of them or only the original characters? Because eventually they introduced a new hologram named Carmen Alonso, aka Rhea, and they introduced a new Misfit named Sheila Burns, aka Jetta. Rhea became the new drummer for the holograms, while Sheila moved on to guitar, and Jetta became a saxophone player for the Misfits. Do you introduce the Stingers as well? I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Personally, I think I'd keep it simple for the first movie, and it'll probably be the first of a few movies, because if it's low budget, it'll probably make its money back. It likely will. But anyway, I would keep it to the original holograms and the original Misfits. I wouldn't do the Starlight music and the Misfits music, get rid of the companies. Would Eric Raymond, the Misfits manager, have to be in it? Well, he was a fairly big part of the show. I suppose he could try to schmooze his way into trying to manage the Misfits. Don't know exactly what he'd do with him. He's a villainous character. He does outright illegal stuff. But then again, so do the Misfits. They do illegal, life-threatening stuff too. It's like all of these people would be thrown in prison in real life. I hope they don't dumb it down to like Hannah Montana Victorious level. I hope there's at least some intelligence in it. I mean, the original show was full of like girly girl fantasy wish fulfillment plots, but it was enjoyable for the most part. I hope they at least keep that level of enjoyment in it. Alright, supporting characters. Well, we already addressed that Rio would probably have to be in it. Eric, most likely, somehow. No Joni. Okay, Starlight House. The thing is, Jerrica's parents, Emma and Jackie Benton, had run Starlight House in addition to Starlight Music. It was a home for foster girls. And this was another inheritance that Emmett left to Jerrica upon his death. They've got foster girls to take care of. Okay, now let me... In the initial blurb for the movie, they said Jerrica and her sisters, which I guess is technically true. I mean, Kimber's her actual sister, and Asha and Sheena are her foster sisters. I hope they keep that aspect of it, and that's not that they're all Jerrica's sisters. But anyway, we don't need Starlight House. For a TV series, like to have extra characters like the Starlight Girls, I mean that's fine, I guess. Not that most of them were ever particularly developed in the cartoon series. I mean, there was Ashley, there was Bonnie, Terry, some others, I don't know, but I just wouldn't include them. I mean, for a movie, or even a movie series, that's too many characters. Besides, I'm not even sure the foster home, with all of the girls and everything, would even be hereditary in real life. I mean, wouldn't DCF take a look at that and go, huh, a girl in her late teens, early 20s probably shouldn't be running a foster house. But anyway, So get rid of that. Get rid of Mrs. Bailey, the housekeeper. We don't even need Starlight Mansion. I mean, yeah, in the 80s, you know, fantasy wish fulfillment, girls living in a huge mansion. Nowadays, that might be looked at as being excessive. And I would hope that today's Gem and the Holograms would, I mean, they need a mansion for the girls, the foster girls on the show. But I would hope they be a bit more modest financially in this new movie. So no Starlight Mansion, no Mrs. Bailey. Alright, let's look at some other supporting characters from the show. Howard Sands, the film producer. He offers the mansion, and he offers a movie contract. And that's the plot of the next 3 episodes after the initial 5. It's Gem and the Holograms making a movie. If Gem's going to make a movie, don't do it in the first movie. Do it later on. You can introduce Howard Sands later for that, I guess. Or heck, do we even need a movie producer? Or like, you know, Anthony Julian. His thing is he's a music video director. He directs their music videos. They could do this stuff with some green screen or do stuff around the city or whatever, just with their own, you know, video equipment. I mean, I think today's teens are tech savvy enough to be able to do this. I mean, if Jerrica's becoming an internet celebrity anyway, she should know how to do this stuff. So we don't need Howard Sands. If they're going to do a movie, they could do it, you know, indie on their own. Don't need Anthony Julian. They can do their own music videos. There's a character named Vivian Montgomery, aka Video. Her thing is she likes to record video and edit video, and she follows them around with a video camera. Okay, that might have been really geeky and stuff back in the 80s to have an entire character revolve around that concept, but it's not needed today. Video's not needed. Neither is her cousin, Constance Montgomery, aka Clash. Her thing is, she's a fan of the Misfits, and she wants to hang out with them, and she wants them to make her a Misfit, and she's got these 2 symbols on her wrists that she likes to bang together to make a clashing sound, and she's got a rivalry with Video, and that's it. She's annoying. We don't need Clash either. Danielle Devoise, whatever, a French fashion designer. She tutors like Shayna and another character that I forget the name of at the moment. She lives right next to Howard Sands back when Howard Sands owned Starlight Mansion. Now she lives next to Gem and the Holograms, obviously. Ooh, a French fashion designer. Yeah, we don't need her. Giselle Dvorak, aka Dance. She's a Yugoslavian girl that lives here, and she was in a few episodes, and there was one episode where she went back to Yugoslavia and tried to discover her family history and stuff. She's fairly interesting. There was one episode where she was paralyzed and couldn't dance, so she had to make a recovery. But I don't think I'd introduce her in the first movie. Save her for the second one. I like her, it's just not right away. Who else? Lindsay Pierce, aka Lynn Z. She's a VJ, She plays Gem and the Holograms music videos and the Misfits music videos. She's got a show where she's got both bands on there. So she's like an MTV VJ basically. Now, she appears in episodes, but she appears to be a lot more prominent than she really was, primarily because as filler, a lot of the time they would repeat a music video from the episode at the end of the episode. They would just repeat it blatantly. And they would have Lindsay introduce it, like, here's a repeat performance of today's special video or whatever. So, yeah, it was time filler and possibly a budget saving move. But, yeah, so that's her. And she's got this thing where she can whistle by putting her fingers in her mouth and whistling, even if she's wearing a glove. Yeah, that's talented. I liked her hairstyle in the first 5 episodes better than later on, but she's nice. But VJs, are there even any VJs today? I mean, do any music channels even play music videos anymore? I mean, I don't have cable. I have a feeling a lot of people don't have cable because they don't feel that it's worth paying so much for cable. So, if you're gonna have Lindsay Pearce on there, I would do it as like she does like internet music news, and she might interview Gem and the Holograms and the Misfits on her channel on the internet, on YouTube or whatever. That's how I do it. So, are there any other characters to consider? Oh, Zipper and Tech Rat, 2 henchmen that Eric had hired. Zipper was just a generic thug and he was eventually arrested. Tech Rat is kind of like a mad scientist type of character, and he has a phobia of being touched. He's weird. Yeah, both of them are kind of dumb and one-dimensional. You can just leave them out entirely. Especially Tech Rat. Let's not get too sci-fi. Anyway. So, I guess what it boils down to, have Gem and the Holograms first-year characters against the Misfits first-year characters. Have Rio and Eric in their supporting roles, and address Jerica's relationship with her father. I mean, I guess the little blurb previewing what the movie was going to be about, that they're going on a scavenger hunt for clues to something that her father was leaving her. Okay, that's great. Don't have it be a whole movie. Have it maybe be like the first 40 to 45 minutes. Don't introduce synergy at the end of the movie. Okay? So, make clear Jerica's relationship with her father, because that was prominent throughout the series, even though he appeared with a speaking role in only 1 episode, and he appeared in flashback footage in like another episode. If there was anything else I don't recall, I mean, he's mentioned a few times. But it's clear that Jerica was close to her father. She was not close to her mother, Jackie, because Jackie often went out on tour. She was a singer in her own right. Jerica hardly got to see her. She resented her for that. And in fact, she was upset at her mother and scowling at her, frowning at her on the day that she died. She went to board an airplane. She looked back at Jerica. Jerica's like, lightning flashes across her face. Yeah, heavy foreshadowing. But anyway, the plane crashes, and then Jerica's all upset that she had acted horribly to her mother the last time that she saw her. Put something like that in the movie. That would be good. That our main protagonist basically was very spiteful towards her mother, and just up until she died, she was just like, "I hate you." Yeah, do that. Let's see. They've got to be in their late teens, like early adulthood, like 18, 19, or early 20s tops. But do not make them teenagers. Like, don't put them in high school. Okay? Geez, what else can I say? There's not much information to go on. I guess, there's going to be a scene where we see footage of Jem's fans talking to her on the internet, leaving video messages or whatever. Other than that, and the whole scavenger hunt idea, which I'm fine with, I'm not sure. Now, apparently there was talk that they were going to be filming pretty soon. Like, when the announcement came, soon after the announcement came out, they said it would start filming in 3 weeks, which I don't know if they're already filming or not, but they also talked about that they were going to be laying down music. I hope that the actors sing. I hope they don't use like session singers or whatever. I mean, I know technically the actor didn't sing on the original show, even though she actually can. But I would like to see Jem's actor, whoever it is. I don't even know. None of the actors have been announced. I hope to see her sing and hear her sing in the movie. Yeah, I don't know how this will go. It could be good, could be bad. In a way, I'm glad that it's low budget. There might not be as much studio interference to make it hip and cool, so to speak, for all of the little kids. Now, the original Jem cartoon was geared towards kids, towards little girls. I expect the movie to be the same way. Although I hope that they respect that Jem's original fans have grown up and can handle a bit more maturity than what you see on Nickelodeon and the Disney Channel. That's most of what I'm hoping for. Emotional maturity, so to speak, relatively speaking. Now, a lot of Jem's songs were like just one-dimensional topic type of things, like "Come On In, the Water's Fine," "Truly Outrageous," which is very repetitive. "I Got My Eye on You." "We Can Change It," which is like about like taking photos and developing them and making like a rock fashion book, which, wow, that plot's outdated. But yeah, there's just a lot of cheerful fantasy wish fulfillment, or one-note things like being in love. And that's what a lot of the original Jem songs were about. Now, there were more mature ones too, such as "Something Is Missing," "Family Is," stuff like that. So I hope that you can have the cutesy fantasy wish fulfillment, lovey-dovey type of songs, but also throw in at least one or two heavier songs just to be a bit more dramatic. Now, for the Misfits, I don't think there was anything other than we're awesome, everyone stay out of our way, stuff like that. The Misfits songs were very, very much just about them. About themselves, egotistical type stuff. So I'm not expecting anything else. I just hope that Jem's songs are fairly decent. Supposedly Samantha Newark, the actor that played Jerica in the speaking role, is going to have a part in the new movie. That's according to her, but from what I read, it wasn't certain yet. They're filming around LA, which, since the original show took place in LA primarily, that's fine. So, I just wish that we'd get more information on what's going on. GemTheMovie.com isn't very helpful. It mostly has like a whole bunch of audition material and submissions and stuff, and a few video updates thrown in. They're all mixed together. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic for the Gem movie. I hope it doesn't suck. It might be just average, but if it's just average, then that's fine. It doesn't need to be any bigger than the subject matter requires. Orphan girl, her love for her parents, rivalry with another band, which, I mean, the Misfits were the ones that created that rivalry. I mean, I suppose Jerica initially started it by wanting to show up the Misfits in the Battle of the Bands, but the Misfits are the ones that continued it for no real reason. And it's a personal rivalry that kind of crossed over to being a musical rivalry, even though the two bands are completely different genres. But, yeah. So, what do you think? What do you think the Gem movie's going to be like? Let me know. Let me know what you think. I have no idea for casting, or for who would write the music, or anything like that. I just hope it's decent, okay? Might be truly outrageous, who knows? But, as, you know, more news comes in, I'll try to address it. And, it's 3:20 p.m. and that's it. Thanks for watching.